Good afternoon, Tony Datino, founder and chairman of the USA Memory Championship. Delighted, happy, and excited to report that we did our 22nd USA Memory Championship on this past Saturday at the Rosen Community Center Event Planning Center, or Event Center within the Rosen JCC. And we had Full Sail University there doing the filming, which then got out to people on YouTube. We had hundreds of people watching it and getting lots of comments as well from people. We had family members that were in the audience, and we had a really fantastic day of competition, education, interaction with people, and congratulations to the 12 mental athletes that made this year's finals. As I said in my opening remarks, they have already won in the game of life, as opposed to coming into a memory competition. So the fact, though, that we had our first 5-time winner in Nelson Dellis is pretty exciting in itself. And so Nelson, was going through the events and was the favorite. People were wondering if there was anybody within the other 11 that may be able to outlast him. But all the way down to the final event, which is what we call the double-deck robust, 2 decks of cards, 104 cards shuffled together. And Grace Smith gave him a run for it, but eventually Nelson was able to outlast Grace, and Grace is a Penn State University, probably the crowd favorite. She's an absolute mental athlete that just loves the event and does a great job in getting through all of them. In fact, when we were doing our Tea Party event, Grace was the only one that was knocking out some of the data bits better than all of the other mental athletes. So coming through the Tea Party event, Grace certainly looked like she could be a favorite, and getting into the final event, which was through the deck of cards. But the Full Sail University crew, they were there with cameras and microphones and lights and setting the stage up. They were just awesome. In fact, one of the things we've gotten a lot of feedback on who did all the video and the YouTubing. It looks so professional, it looks so well done, that you obviously found a professional crew to do this year's championship. And through the gift of the Rosen Center, we got to meet Maxine, who was just amazing in introducing us to the Professor Corbett at Full Sail, and they loved it. They enjoyed the day. That gave them a full comprehensive application of all of the things that they've studied at the university, and we're just as delighted as anyone at the day's activities and how the day went. And when you're going live that way, and their mic and their screenshots are fixed on the podium, you want to run as close to being on time and keep something going within each of the periods. So that was a little learning. We started a little bit late, and I say a little bit, it was probably less than 10 minutes, and we were already getting notes from people. When are you going to start, and why aren't you starting at 12 o'clock? And so I got up there at about 12:10 and started to talk about the event and its importance and what it's really all about in terms of memory and how it impacts everyone's lives. The good news is the broadcast is now on YouTube underneath the USA Memory Championship umbrella. So if you go to YouTube and go for the USA Memory Championship, you go brought to you by Full Sail University, anyone can now go in and look at that. And I would certainly, clearly, I don't know what I want to say other than mandate anybody looking at the competition can look at this in 2 pieces. The speakers were fantastic. The people in the audience just thought that Robert Ajamian with Jim Carroll opening up the speaking was a great start to the event. And then along came Michael Datino, who did the loci method and did a great feedback he got on what he did in sharing with people a loci method of retaining information. We went from there to Bob Schaefer from Lumosity. Did a fantastic job on the research that their company has done and its impact and how we are learning things about our brain in the research world and how Lumosity is taking that research and looking to advance the state of their work so that they provide tools to people that can help them at any age in dealing with whatever the brain challenges or the cognitive fitness challenges that people have. And then Chris Baltazano from Columbia Neuroscience Research shared their research and what they're currently doing on a project that is facilitated by Michael Dattino and what goes on in the brain and how they got to the point that they're now doing a 3-year study. Just fabulous stuff. So, and then of course our opening was by Ruben Romanowski, who's the CEO of the Rosen Center and was so gracious to be there all afternoon. He gave up a Saturday afternoon not only to have us be a part of it, but to be at the event and just watch what went on with the different people and presenting the final trophy to our 5-time winner, Nelson Dellis. So the day was terrific, and I could go on and on. Debbie from the JCC was as excited. She was our guest, our host of the event that was escorting people in and watching what was going on and keeping us all abreast of what was happening on YouTube. So Debbie, terrific job. You were just a delight to work with. And Debbie's like, okay, how do we bring this to high schools and create some competitions that go for high schools and things of that sort? So a lot of good ideas that we've got. I will tell you, in looking at all the different comments after the event, we've gotten such great feedback. And I guess putting this out on YouTube was a real blessing because it gave us now people who have watched it, and many for the first time. A lot of good feedback in terms of suggestions and tweaks and modifications, but overall the comments were really positive and really appreciate the work that my team did. So as the founder of this, it's always a challenge to put on a memory competition, as I've said over and over again on TV broadcasts and things. You could get people to get undressed and be naked on a stage faster than you could get them to put their brain on a stage. And people find that hard to believe, but this is where I come from in terms of the people who did compete and were on stage are the winners, right from number 1 to number 12. So the fact that they competed and exercised their brain and learned some things in the process and met some new friends and got to have a little bit of camaraderie with the finalists, just fantastic. One event that stumped everybody, and that was one that we obviously need to relook at, and we're getting a lot of feedback on it, was the Tea Party guest sheet. And one of the things that we've done in the past is we have limited the amount of information per person to about 25 data bits. So if you multiply 4 guests by 25, that's about 100 data bits that they have to remember. And we add that by video, so that made it even more complicated in the sense that it was by video as opposed to a live person. So they had to watch these videos twice. They were 2-minute videos. They got to watch it twice. They got to look at a mind map, which helped them to retain information. So this was the mind map of our Tea Party guest. I think I'd hold this upside down. You're not going to look at this mind map too well, but there was a mind map of our Tea Party guest. And Mr. Thomas Fry stumped him, and he stumped him on a variety of different branches. And I guess what threw them off is he was the last person to see on the video, but it was the first person that we called back for recall. And by the time they were done with Thomas Fry, we had eliminated the 3 people that were going to that were eliminated from the competition, and we had our 3 people that were going to advance to the double deck of cards. And to his credit, Nelson Dellis got through 52 cards, and Grace could not, and therefore we didn't get to the second deck of 52, and Nelson became our USA Memory Championship at our 22nd event. And I was surprised to realize how time goes by when he said the last time he won was in 2015, and he's been after this 5th event for a number of times. And it was, wow, 2015. I said, Nelson, we're getting old. It's like, whoa. And that was interesting to hear Nelson talk about what it was like to win his 5th championship, which now I would suspect, as we all thought, that he's won his 5th. He's got 5, that Nelson's likely to retire. He's got 2 little ones in the family already, and he's got a 3rd coming. And I asked him, how does he find time to practice the skills? And he's kind of embedded them into his life. So it's not like it's a burdensome, laborious thing, but something that he just fits into his calendar. So those are the highlights. Starting on Wednesday, I will get back to my normal broadcast of talking about, different elements of science and how they're impacting. So here's one, COVID-19, how has the lockdown affected our memories? So those are the kinds of things I'll start talking about coming Wednesday. If there are any issues, points, questions, feedback that any of you get by watching the YouTube channel, USA Memory Championship, I'd love it. I'd like when people send me personal emails to adottino@AOL, adottino@AOL. I can be much more responsive. I'm not though I'm getting better at Facebook and now YouTube, I can give you a much more quick response to people if they send me a note to my personal email, adottino@AOL.com. And sometimes I like to suggest to people, let's just get on a phone call and let's talk to one another. So with all of that, have a good week. We are off and going. God, the team is all kind of relaxing a bit today and getting back to their normal routines. They've just been fabulous. Bob Schaefer and Seth Gorson from Lumosity have just been fantastic. We had a great opportunity to spend some dinner time on Saturday night at an outdoor restaurant. And the feedback that we get, Robert Hajamian, Jim Carroll, Chris Baldassano, has all been wonderful. We had a really terrific conference Zoom at the end of the event with some of the major researchers in the country from several universities that I really asked to talk to some of the mental athletes. So we went from 4:30 to almost 6 o'clock having a post-session debrief with athletes and with some of the presenters and talking about the impact that this kind of thinking and event has on the memory and people's lives. So that was a great session, even at the end of a really excellent day and what have you. So with all of that, have a good evening. It's adottino@AOL.com and enjoy your week. And we'll see you on Wednesday.